Hey, Shaun,
Shaun.
and then you get to do it too.
Hey, Shaun.
S Dog. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Feeling better?
I'm feeling strong
E-
like bull.
energetic? Excited?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to open with this. Sorry, hang on.
Oh,
Get that Orb Talk
yeah.
branding.
I
Yeah,
love it.
after our first Orb Talk, it dawned on me that I have an orb. I had just forgotten.
It's technically not.
Well, here we go. Let's get right into it. No more
Well,
pleasantries. Why is this not an orb?
I mean, look at the bottom.
Seems pretty orby to me.
Let's see the bottom.
Oh, the bottom? There's the bottom.
No.
Oh, the other side?
Yep. There
Fine.
we go.
Fine. But it makes my orb spin.
Yeah.
Does your orb spin? I didn't think
It,
so.
yeah, it does if you
Let's
set it
boo
free.
this man.
If you set it free. I'm definitely I'm hooked, man. Like there are some new orbs that I am into. We got white marble. Oh my gosh.
That's got it.
Like,
So, who's your. I checked out, what was it, Midwest Metals or something? Or Midwest Tungsten.
oh
That
yeah,
was the
that's what.
link you sent me last time.
Yeah, right. That's to
And
pure tungsten. Those things are expensive.
yeah, we're talking several hundred to a grand worth
Oh
of
no,
shiny
more than
tungsten.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the
sorry.
orb
Yeah, into
in
into
the
four
size of
digits for
my
sure.
chrome one, yeah, four to 6,000.
Yeah. But so your set currently includes. This is where you finish.
Oh, my set of orbs
Yeah. What do you
that
own
I'm
right
that
now, and
I'm
what's
proud of,
what's?
that I'm proud of.
Let's start there.
One, a four
The
inch chrome orb.
is chrome a metal?
It's a
Isn't
kind of
chrome just
steel, chrome steel. So it's
it's
a
zinc plated steel?
yeah, and
Okay.
it's polished usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a steel orb, solid
Gotcha.
steel. It's not hollow or anything, in case anybody was wondering.
They were.
Yeah.
the the chat is lit up right now. Hollow liar. No way it's solid. His puny arms could never lift that. Yeah, they're
Solid.
upset. What orbs do you own that bring you shame?
Well, I got some wooden ones that I let's just say I went cheap on them, and they're open grain. They look they're really lightweight. They probably are hollow, but really I need to just invest in like a solid hardwood walnut or maple sphere in the, 2 to, well, no, it's 3 to 6 inch size diameter, and get it polished and just beautiful looking.
Now, where do you stand on wanting to make it yourself?
I don't have to make it myself. I'm a collector. I appreciate it. I don't want to be like, I made this orb.
It wouldn't be therapeutic for you to go through the process of sanding and shaping and polishing.
No, in fact, this is a good, you bring up a good point. It would probably make it worse for me if I made my own, because I almost like, I think of myself and I'm like, you don't make orbs. You're not a craftsman that
Not
knows
yet.
how to create the perfect sphere, which technically is impossible. Um,
You haven't seen me try
but
it.
but like I also won't eat a salad that I make. So
Orbs
like
and salads. What else?
what?
Orbs and
Well,
salads. What else?
it's just the idea of like somebody else can do this better. So somebody else knows the right ratio of greens to vegetables to dressing to all this stuff. And if I make it myself, I don't trust myself. I'm gonna get it all wrong. I put ingredients that don't go together. The
So
ratio's
this is
off.
a fantastic point. You're afraid to make a salad because you don't want to mess it up. You
Yeah,
don't want to make an orb because there's
I
other
want it
people who know how to do it
right,
better.
right.
Now, what you do professionally, making videos, for example, directing videos, why would you bother directing a video unless you think you are the greatest director to ever walk the earth?
Oh man, I never think that ever.
But
I
it's the
just
same
get
thing. It's what you
really
just said. There's somebody who could do it better in theory. Why even bother? Someone could make a better video than you. Why bother?
incorrect. So it's not that they could make a better video than me. It's that my idea in my head, no one can make that better than me.
And when you have the idea for a salad, someone else could bring that salad to life better.
That's the thing. I don't
Okay.
have any ideas for salads. I don't
There's
have,
there's just the
yeah,
two, right? There's salad and then like salad with cheese.
no, like I don't have any idea of how to put those things together and what kind of combinations and balance you need to make a good salad. So I'm just like, you make it for me. Tell me you're really good at this, and I will enjoy it. But with a video, like I have a ton of ideas. I know exactly how I want to make it.
Do you ever eat a salad that someone else has made and then like think like this is a pretty good salad, but I probably would have done just a bit more gorgonzola and a little less pepper.
Never. I would never do that.
Wait, are you taking issue with the gorgonzola choice or with tweaking a salad in
Both.
general?
Both. I'm not a huge blue cheese fan.
Well, maybe you would say this is a good salad, but maybe a little less blue cheese.
No, I wouldn't question it.
You would just eat the blue cheese.
I would just eat the salad the way somebody made it and
This is
trust that like
fascinating. And yet you would never think like, hey, the next time I order a salad from here, I'm going to ask if they'll hold the blue cheese.
no, I'd probably mess it up. Maybe that's what gives it the special flavor, Like I'm not the one that should be making these decisions. Definitely not.
I'm disagreeing with you. Like my instinct is to disagree with you, but then also I'm thinking of the number of times that I leave tomatoes on things, knowing that I dislike tomatoes, but just assuming that they're necessary, that it's not going to be the same without the tomato.
Yeah. Yeah, I I like to trust other craftsmen, other craftspeople to do things the way it was intended, and I will partake. But
It's
I don't like
noble.
to start restructuring things. No,
So
definitely not.
you're going to
Like
continue to buy
even like
orbs.
let's say furniture, for example. Like if it was like, oh hey, you can customize this furniture. You can make it like the exact length, width, and height that you want and choose your fabric. I'm gonna be like, no, thank you. I want, what if I pick an abnormally long sofa? Because it like fit my room, but like it's too long. Or it's like, oh, I want to be able to relax in it and it's too deep. Like, I just want somebody that knows how to make it and offer me these, fabric styles, choose one and be done.
Okay. I mean, in some ways, I mean, you work for a furniture company.
Yeah, but I would never want to like get into the business of curating, of doing anything other than curating. Like no like custom stuff. Like
You don't sit at one of your company's desks and think like, this is a great desk, but I wish if this power outlet thing was like 4 inches to the left, that would be better
no,
for me.
no. We toil over that stuff. We lock it in and then it's done.
Are you a part of the toiling?
Yeah, but I'm not the decision maker. Thank God.
Interesting. Well, that brings us to nowhere.
Okay.
But I didn't know how. I knew I had some things I wanted to talk about tonight with you. I didn't know how I would transition to them from genuine orb talk.
Oh,
But I have to say that I am impressed with the relevance of our conversation,
okay.
starting with orbs. I think we just touched on some interesting things within creativity,
Yep.
starting from a
Decision
very
making.
authentic orb place.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, because I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it was a very organic experience. Do you have goals for your, I don't want to call it creative career. Let's start there. What is this? I mean, I have a job. I technically own an agency that does things, but like the marshmallow lesson was not a boom reactive client, but that was like a pinnacle for me of something that I've created. It's a part of my, I guess career is one word for it, but legacy is another word. What is your portfolio? What do you think I'm saying?
Like what the end goal is for me creatively, or like what my aspirations are.
Yeah, something in there.
Yeah. Um, that's a good question. I think that I am happiest when I'm able to offer something to something bigger than me, and I'm able to utilize all the things I've learned from with past experiences. Um, so I guess the ultimate goal for me would be to utilize everything I've learned within my career and use them all at the same time.
Is there a type of project that you're imagining involves all those pieces? And whether or not that's true, are there pieces in the meantime that you're trying to be a part of in some way to equip yourself for this future project or projects?
That's a good question too.
Famously, Steve Jobs in a commencement address, I believe, was talking about you can't connect the dots. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. And he referenced a calligraphy
Yeah.
class and how that defined the typeface which set the Mac apart, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't a sort of thing where you could say, hey, I want the Mac to stand apart because of its typefaces, and so I need to take a calligraphy class to learn that. But I think
Yeah.
we, as we design our careers, have these opportunities to say, well, I want to shoot music videos. I want to shoot something, not because I always want to shoot music videos, but because I want to learn how to do this sort of stuff. And like for me, weddings. I shot weddings for 2 years, and I do not want to shoot weddings. But the things that you learn shooting weddings are things you can't learn in other places, and they are serious lessons. And I'm absolutely glad that there was something, a tool I added to my tool chest, even though it's not, I know it's guiding me and helping me get to where I want to be, but it's not where I want to be. So do you see stuff like that? Are you pursuing different, I don't know, verticals or genres of
Mm-mm.
creativity with a final goal in mind, or are you just putting clay on the wheel?
Yeah, I think that's a better way to put it. Um, yeah, because even when I look back at my past things, even those were not like, okay, I want to check this off. I want to check this box, or I want to conquer this mountain, or I want to start exploring this genre. It was never that. it was just usually based on relationships and opportunities. Um, and so I guess I'm a big believer in always doing your best work every time and always being open to whatever new opportunity comes your way, and being open for that to be way different than you ever expected, even to the point where it doesn't necessarily have to do with video at all.
I had to get a pen
Oh,
because I like what you're saying, and I hear it. I see it in myself and in my career. This says important tax document. Do you think I can write on that?
yeah. How important?
Here's a recall for my bicycle pedals. I'll write on the back of this. Important safety recall information. I just haven't ridden my bike since this came out. As you talk about getting involved and being open to anything and that collaboration and pushing yourself to another level, I find that life ends up resembling, for me, this. Where there's these sort of growth moments.
Yeah.
And then I sort of sit in this area for an indeterminate amount of time until some other opportunity comes up that yanks me into another level. And it's been difficult to say, like, well, I'm ready to be in the next level. I'm going to do that now. Because in production, in a lot of ways, you're limited to what clients you get. You could be an amazing director. You could be the best director for Nike commercials they've ever seen. But if you're just somebody in your basement who hasn't worked for Nike, who hasn't worked for anyone, no one's going to know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I find myself in, of like, there are things I know I would be really good at, but I have to get there by working with the schools and the nonprofits that I do and work that I love. But it's really difficult to, while working within the confines of these other projects, to say, well, I really want to do some sweet motion control, robot repeating movement stuff. It's really hard to sell that to the Peter and Paul Community Services Homelessness Foundation that I worked with this past year. And so I guess that's the long...
I hear what you're saying, but I wouldn't even ask them.
Well, the budget limits it. And I guess that's the big thing. If there's a lot that I do where it's limited by the financial budget and the time budget. And for example, I'm very excited to shoot a project at the end of the month that unfortunately you are not able to shoot with me anymore. But I've someone else is going to, and it's going to be helpful. But we're filming in this giant indoor jungle greenhouse, and we have 3 hours or 4 hours to film. And that right there is the confines. And I get the cliche, like, well, you make it work, you hustle, you get it done. But it's 4 hours. And if we want to do a gimbal move on some sort of dolly track that, goes over and through one of the little planters or something like that, that's an hour's worth of setup. That's, to do these things where if in the future somebody was like, hey, it'd be awesome if we did these moving sweet shots in a giant greenhouse. Have you done anything like that before? It's like, no, I haven't, because I couldn't. But that's...
Yeah, but I don't even go there. Like, my head doesn't even... If I take the project, it is the top of the mountain for me. It is the top. The current project I'm working on is literally the pinnacle of everything I've done in my entire life in order to get to this place. So if I have 4 hours at an indoor greenhouse to shoot a dance, everything I've done in my life has been preparing me for this moment. And not like a just get it done, man, hustle. No, it's like, okay, this is an extremely difficult challenge. How can we make it the best possible? And, like, and through those experiences is where I get, I think, the most helpful tools coming out of it.
I agree with that. My question then is, would you accept a job that doesn't challenge, like that you're comfortable or confident doing? I say this as someone who's trying to hire you for different things.
Yeah.
This is not an interview.
No. If I like the people I'm working with or working for, yeah. Simple as that. Like, I'm here on this earth for a limited amount of time. There are plenty of things I can't do. This is one thing that I can do. And if I like the people, or if I'm, getting paid a ton of money.
Yeah, obviously. We're
But
all
yeah,
for sale.
if I
That's
like the project, then yeah, I just jump in head first. And like, and it's weird because sometimes the simplest projects like that mean absolutely in the big scheme of things in my career, they don't look like they're that important at all. They're where I made a connection with somebody that liked how much effort I put into a particular project, even though it was a smaller project. And that leads me to one of the biggest clients I've ever had too. So I think it's just that mental, if I say I'm in, I'm in, and don't worry about it helping you get up the next rung or not, because it will help you. It will help you in ways you had no idea.
so as you do this and progress, do you have some end goal or vision based loosely on things you've experienced that you're trying to get to? Like, can you say, I want to shoot this sort of commercial, this kind of documentary, I want to make an art exhibit project with different videos? Is there anything that you, in your head, as you talk about your ideas, your salads and all this stuff, is there something which you want to do but you don't think you're ready for yet, or you haven't found the funding or client for yet?
No, I'm not. I'm not on the hunt, and I don't have a dream project. I'm just literally taking every day, seeing what it brings me, and seeing like what is next.
That's fascinating to me
Really?
because I'm the opposite.
Yeah, you're a
Let me.
planner.
I'm
Well,
I'm very.
that's also why we work so well together. You
Can
know,
I? Can I?
because like all of our greatest strengths are also our weaknesses as well to a point. So, um, yeah, my weaknesses are also going to end up in my lack of like.
I don't want to say ambition, but I guess that's what I'm tiptoeing around in. And like in everything that I read and I consume, I want to be clear that I loathe hustle culture.
Okay.
Loathe it.
Yeah.
But the idea of being like for me, and this is where I'm really interested in your insight because I know you feel this, but as a father and as a provider, for me, my life changed, my creative life changed drastically when we were going to have a kid because suddenly, like, I mean, that was end of two. I have said before in areas, I found out we were pregnant when I was in the Paris airport on my way to Burkina Faso to film. And then I like lost cell communication with my wife for most of a week, which was a challenge. But it just put everything to, like everything before that was like, yeah, I'll shoot that, sure. Like, oh, you want me to? Yeah, sure. Like, I'll mess with that, sure. And then it quickly shifted to like, I gotta do stuff. I gotta make like I have to have clients. I have to have recurring business. I have to grow because if I don't, then there's going to be a kid who wants food and things like that, which I should really be a part of providing in some way. And so that sort of flipped my creative ambitions into a different gear where it's still not like hustle, 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 like, oh, I'll take any gig, whatever. $400, you got it. Yeah, I'm in. But I want to look at my year and say, who do I want to be working with? What did I do last year that I don't want to do again? What's going to help me? And so I just put this on screen a second ago. I'm going to put it back on the screen now. Yep. Did I show this to you a couple weeks ago or send this to you?
Not this one. I've seen other lists that you have.
I like lists.
Yeah.
I'm a man who likes lists. I don't know how visible this is in the stream to anyone.
No, it's visible.
I'm going to get rid of us for a second just to make it slightly bigger. You can hear us.
Anything?
What's that?
You didn't hardly change anything.
I changed everything. Thank you. But I have laid out for the next 5 years, 6 years, 4 years, final answer. My goals for Boom's production and where I see us going right now. And then Our Little World, which is my dream project. And then being transparent, my weight is on here. Forgot that was on here when I shared that. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. You got to have goals. Yeah. Got to take it day by day. And then I've got this passion projects, which is the unpaid stuff. And like right now, my focus for the rest of the month is on tabletop videography. I took Casey Neistat's class last month. It was fine. It was good. And then I got hobbies. We're busting out the FPV. What's that?
So that's a glowing review.
I won't repeat myself on YouTube at length, but I just posted a video on Friday, like my review of the class, and I think it was great. I think there's a lot of people who would be disappointed, but I found it inspirational in areas, and I'm an eager learner, so I came out of it net positive, but part of me hesitates to be like, yeah, take this class, because I feel like people take it be like, I already knew all that. And if you've got that attitude,
well, don't try to think for other people.
I know, so that's
it, and it was great. Just end it with
that's what I said in the video, man. I'm sorry. I holstered it just now. I holstered my enthusiasm, and I'm sorry. Let me go full screen. I'm sorry. All right. Oh, that's way too small. There we go. But in here, I have hobbies, FPV drone. I want to learn how to weld later this spring.
Yeah.
So for me, if I don't put, like, that's not something I'm going to stumble into, learning how to weld. That's something that I have to say, yeah, before I'm 40, I'd like to know how to weld. And the only way I'm going to learn how to weld is if I put it on my calendar so that in April I can say, hey, where are welding classes? And how can I make sure I'm going to weld? And then obviously selling that sweet, sweet Boom apparel. Getting famous, that recurring revenue. But my overall, I'm going to zoom out here. My goal is to take December off from everything, including my weight. My weight just says vacation for December, and that's fine. And in fact, I just noticed this. Hoping to be 158 in November and fine being 160 again. Fine ticking back up in January. It's realistic. It's fun. But yeah, as I progress here, I want to take every July and every December off, and it's possible if I can do the other things right. But to me, a document like this gives me so much peace of mind for planning because I can look at welding, I can look at tabletop videography. If there's a skill that I want to learn within a project, I can either put it in my passion project goals or find a client that can bring that to life.
Yeah, for this, like this, I actually do get like this, what you just showed me, but not in my life. I get like this within a project.
I know it's been fantastic with the SAM project.
So the project is like, okay, we're in, and this is what has to happen. This is, you know, these are the milestones, these are the possible challenges, these are like the way we're gonna like solve all these problems, like that. And that brings me so much peace to have that kind of a plan, you know. And then when everything goes wrong and has changed, it's like at least you are starting from somewhere, and you can make adjustments. But then in between those projects, I'm just like a dog chasing tires. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I just
Rest in power.
I yeah, and I think I'm happier when I feel the magic of the universe giving me my next project. Just like I'm not out there going, this is what I'm going to do by the time I'm this age. It's like, oh, this person I've developed a relationship with, this is leading to this path. Or this new skill has made me the perfect person to help out and serve the project in this way. And you just kind of follow your heart.
And I guess the thing about, like, I agree with that completely. Like, I didn't meet you until mid 2019, and then we did the marshmallow lesson, and now we own most of the Midwest outright.
On lock.
I got deeds, yo. Those are 1099s. But as I meet people and opportunities come up, it's easy for me to come back to goals that I've set and adjust them and look for opportunities and advance, like speed things up, shortcut to things, skip ahead, rather than not have any of these goals and just say, like, I wonder who I'm going to meet this year. Mainly because I also haven't met anyone in 2 years.
Yeah. That should be on your goals.
Meet someone.
Get out there.
I spoke with a new person today, actually. I take that back.
Well, good.
I think that this conversation is helpful and exciting. And I wonder if by calling this Orb Chat or Orb Talk and having a thumbnail that has an orb in it, if we've limited how many people are viewing these videos because they wouldn't click on Orb Talk because they don't know what creative gems are waiting for them inside, what perfectly honed spherical creativity we have.
I mean, you could always A/B test.
That's true. Might have to do that next. I don't want to talk about imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Because I don't want both of us to start crying. Are you a crier?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You wuss. You baby. Yeah.
Oh, big time. Like, I mean, all you gotta do is remind me about the movie Mr. Holland's Opus, and I'm
That'll do it.
yeah.
Um, man, what just got me again the other day, and it gets me every time. It's a it's a scene in The West Wing
Hmm.
when when they rescue Zoe. Spoiler alert, season 5 opener. But just like massive chills up and down the arms, and it just starts. And and I watched animated movie by Lin Manuel Miranda, Encanto.
Encanto.
That took me out. End of that
Yeah,
one, just
yeah. I was mature. That was those were heavy topics there.
yeah. But and I get what a segue back to my question. Not imposter syndrome, but what she was struggling with was, does she belong? And the moves that she was making trying to save her home and her family could seem like, to an outsider, like overreaching. And even to her, like, was she doing the right thing by trying so hard, or was her role better left in the background because she didn't have whatever powers, or within the family? And as I look at myself, what I was going to ask you, when we're leveling up, when we're reaching these big days, I can't see where I'm pointing because I covered my face. But the days and the projects that we move up are days when we're out of our comfort zone. And if we're always looking for those, how do you deal with that sort of perpetual lack of confidence? Do you feel that?
Yeah. Um,
I'm going to talk a little bit more while you find your thought.
okay, okay.
We just did a shoot for the symphony where this greenhouse is the final piece of that. But we were filming in the orchestra hall, and I wanted this shot where they wanted to walk through the orchestra hall toward the stage, this moving shot, and I had a gimbal, and they wanted this shot, and I'm like, man, the light is going to be rough. It's going to be tough. Thanks, David. And so I knew from watching BTS footage of movies that I needed a big light on a stick that someone behind me could hold up in the air so that as we moved, the light on my subject stayed consistent. I had never done it before. I know essentially what to do. I've worked with a light before, but it was flying without a net. Is that an expression?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But because of that, as I'm doing it, I've had some serious. I had a severe lack of confidence, and now as we're doing this shoot in the greenhouse jungle, I'm feeling the same thing of like, we're gonna maybe have the boom light running behind me, and I'm gonna be working, which is why I've hired Kyle, and why I was trying to hire you. Like, I want to unload my brain of the responsibility so that I can focus, because I don't. I mean, it'd be the kind of thing where if the client was like, "Wait, you don't feel confident doing this?" I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. I feel confident we can do it." But there's something there where there is that, because it's a lack of experience, it's new territory. It comes with, we'll continue to call it a lack of confidence. But what we're looking for then in our careers is just a repeated lack of confidence. We want to be in that situation again and again where we're trying new things and learning new things. But with that comes, you surrender the opportunity to ever feel like you just fully own everything. Like you own your skills. You can come in, you could do anything because you're always doing something you haven't done before. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's a balance. So you don't want to take the jobs where like you're you don't have any confidence in the entire project, because you're learning everything from scratch. It's like, yeah, I can confidently lead you down the right path in 80% of this project. And the other 20% I have not encountered before, but I will give it my full attention and care. And I promise I will help you ask the right questions and help find the right people or educate myself in the way that's going to bring that last 20% into fruition. But then I think my answer is the way you're able to do it is that balance, to be able to say, yeah, the client isn't looking at me going, you don't know what you're doing, because I have owned so much of this. But in this other part, they're actually glad that that I have the humility of saying I don't know, or being curious, or asking for help, or things like that. Um, and so it's just about the balance and the attention to detail that you give those problems or those unknowns. Um, and then it's in the bag, for your next project. And it keeps going. But I think if you're looking for those ratios, always tackling something new, it's always going to come up anyways, whether you see it ahead of time or not. But then if you feel you have the confidence for a majority of the project, I think that's the most important.
So I guess then let's call it 80-20 just for fun.
Okay.
Pick those arbitrary numbers. I think that a way to shift my outlook is there are projects that I approach that, like, interview based documentary style promo videos for nonprofits like that. I can do those with my eyes shut. No problem. Got it on lock. But to come back to the ratio and say, even though I can do this 100%, I should look for somewhere in this project 20% that I'm stretching. I'm pushing.
You're not gonna have to look.
But I think you do. I think there would be areas where you're gonna deal with problem solving like always, but instead of, like, there are projects that I approach, I'm like, yeah, 100% I know how to do that. And instead to say, like, well, yeah, I do know how to do that, but what could I do that I don't know how to do yet? Where's an opportunity, rather than finding something on the day to design the project in a way.
But I guess I agree with that, but I would not look at it like I need to find something that I don't know how to do to add to this project. I would just think, is there anything else that can make this project better? And do not limit myself to the things I'm good at.
I'm gonna out you here, something you told me in confidence. But
Okay.
you've killed 4 people. Or no, sorry, not that. You were talking, as you and I have talked about working together. One of the things you said that thunderstruck me was, when I have a project that I just don't think I can do, if we collaborated, would that make it, like, you want to do that, where then together we can do something? And then I called you about it 2 nights ago, but last night we talked, and I've got this potential project that they want something flashy and all this stuff, and it is out. Like, they want no seated interviews. I'm like, no seated interviews? What are we gonna do then? Maybe one. Maybe we'll do the 1 seated interview, and then that's fine. But there, like, when I got off the call, I talked to Jessie for like 20 minutes. I don't think she even had room to say anything. I was just sort of venting emotionally. I'm like, I don't know if I got in over my head. I don't know I don't know anything. I don't know how to make videos. They're gonna pick me, and I'm gonna. Yeah, and then I talked to you, and I'm like, okay, it is possible. What I can't do is conceptualize it and maybe not direct it, but that doesn't mean I can't produce it. And finding finding that 80% of I know how to produce something, I know how to get the right people there, how to put the right people together and equip them, and then participate in that 20% of shaping it visually and editing it would be something beyond that. That's going to be a comfortable push for me if it comes through. But yeah, everything you just said a minute ago, turns out you were right.
Yes.
You were right already about what I had done.
Yeah.
Can you read the screen?
David Christopher Pitt, privately. Come on, he always brags about taking out the 4 Hanson brothers.
I am 2 degrees from the Hansons.
You are?
Yeah.
Like by blood?
No, through connections.
Oh, okay.
One of my fraternity brothers is friends with them. And they
All 4 of them?
I think there's only 3 that are actively in the group. In
But
fact, I know
David
there's only 3. I
Ward.
know there's more Hanson siblings, but I can say with confidence that 3 of them,
I like that David
Isaac, Zach,
is
and
insinuating
Taylor.
that I killed 4 of them. So that means I took out the band and that one that was like, I'm not even a part of this.
Come on, I'm an accountant. Come on. I'm a veterinarian. No, but for Jessie has been a big fan her whole life, and for her birthday a few years ago, I was able to get a signed photograph with a "Happy Birthday, Jessie" from the Hanson brothers, and it is framed and in our bedroom. It's in our bedroom on the floor because it was hanging in what is now my son's room. It was hanging on the wall there, and it was going to be over where his crib is, and we thought maybe put something else on the wall
Yeah.
other than a signed photo of the Hansons.
Yeah.
But he'll see it. He'll see it when he's ready. When he turns 4. What else you got, man?
Well,
Do you feel imposter syndrome in all this? Or do you
oh yeah, absolutely. I think
have you ever worked with someone who doesn't seem like they struggle with imposter syndrome at all?
yeah, definitely. They're so cool.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say David.
Yeah, Pitt for sure. He's like a, I don't know, man. He's just from another world. Like he just emerges from his garage or wherever he hangs out at, and he's kind of this gunslinger. Just like, what's up, baby?
By the
You
way, a
know,
little bit ago, he
we're gonna get it
commented,
done.
he followed up his own, he said Brett Hoy has a lot of confidence and then said filled with it. And so if we want to say something, and then I can put that comment up as though he's saying that now.
Oh
Like,
yeah, let's
David
do that.
has a lot of misplaced confidence. Yeah, see, he agrees.
Oh
See, we have that trick up our sleeves.
yeah,
Hollywood magic.
yeah. But I mean,
What does it do to your emotions, to your confidence when you work with someone who feels
oh, it's
like, do you
great. I
feel
love it. I love it.
it lifts you, it doesn't push you down?
Absolutely. Like I don't want to be like surrounded by a bunch of like a bunch of like busy bee Shauns just like, what are we gonna do?
I want to be
I want to
surrounded
be
by someone who
surrounded
sounds
by
like
people
the
like
person who's
David
been
Pitt.
asking you
That's
these
just like,
questions.
yeah, people that are just show up like, where are we shooting? What are we making? That's cool. Ooh, that's a bad idea. I like that. All right. How much time we got? Plenty of time. Like just the calm energy that somebody like that brings to a set. Like I love it. I thrive on it.
Do you
But
think
then if somebody starts to lose it, I can like channel the confidence of David for them. Like I can be somebody that I'm not in order to calm them down, in order to serve them. So I like to be served by a calm crew, and I like to serve them by being calm myself.
Do you think that there's a trade-off somewhere, or can both ends of the spectrum exist simultaneously of that calm confidence and the hustle of the we've got 4 hours end of story? Because in my experience, and I've never put David, as long as we're being open about talking about David, I've never put David in this position. When I've hired him, I've made sure that we've got the time to let David be David, because I know that that's how to best use David. But there's other people I've worked with that have that same sort of traditional film production background of being a PA, and having that like slow schedule of we're waiting around for talent, we're doing this, we're doing that. Like my role hasn't started yet. And when you get into a situation where it's like, hey, we gotta go, I feel like that calmness becomes a detriment, because it's like we
Yeah.
we gotta go, man. We don't have time to be chill and happy.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say we don't have time to be chill and happy, but we don't have time to be chill, and we need to. I guess the thing is, we need to make sacrifices on the fly. We need to decide now what's important, because in 10 minutes we don't get to decide again, and a lot of that confidence comes with sort of a measured approach, I feel.
I don't think you're going to change anybody in on your crew. I don't think you're going to change talent. I don't think you're going to change anyone. Absorb my confidence like cotton wool. Okay, I will. I don't think you're going to change anybody during a production. So that means that you are getting your team. Not saying you can't challenge them. You can challenge them. That means you're getting your team as is. Means they're motivated by the things they're motivated by. They're concerned by the things they're concerned by. That they can crack by the things that crack them. Like you need to know that and treat them all. At least I would treat them all differently. If I have somebody that I know is super stressed and nervous and is frustrated, I'm going to tell them it doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to be like, I don't care if we get this last shot.
You just
Like, you're
cussed in the
doing
live stream
great.
again, man.
So sorry. I don't care. Like, I'm going to relieve you of this pressure and tell you it doesn't matter, even though there's a client somewhere that's like, oh no, it does matter. Because I know that that's what that person needs right then. I think that's what a good like coach does, right? For a sports team that, has a lot of pressure on them, like in football, just like tremendous pressure on like a quarterback or an athlete to make a certain play, or actually probably baseball is the best example, because it's just so many individual egos and people that have pressure on them. And even though it's a group sport, like the team sport, but there's so much pressure on the individuals to perform, right? So you can kind of take that into production, and to be able to know what those people need and that they need different things. And that's how you're going to get the best possible product out of it. And you're not going to make that product better because you whipped somebody or let them, just mess around and not pay attention. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. And when you zoom out a little bit and think like, yeah, if I push this person so hard that I'm going to get 50% of the result I needed from them.
Yeah.
But long term, that's going to create more problems with the project and that relationship, and the atmosphere on set the relationship with the client and the atmosphere on set is going to be different, and the relationship with whatever individual on my crew that was. And so it's so much easier to say, let's relax. We'll take, if it's a hit on this one shot where we're not going to get this shot the exact way that we dreamed about having it, that's fine. I'd rather have the composure moving forward rather than lose all of that and flail.
And then can you look back and say, okay, when I look back at this project, did I treat everyone and try to get the most out of everyone that was a part of this? And the answer is, usually yes.
I like your coaching analogy.
Yeah, and that's what's important.
And I think my job as a producer is almost less of a coach and more of a manager, where I gotta build a roster, and regardless of what's happening on the day, I got to make sure that if I've got somebody who, they may be a really talented camera op, but if they can't handle certain things that keep coming up, it's just not going to be good. Like, they're not going to be happy working on these projects, and the projects aren't going to be happy being served by that individual.
Right.
And so that's why, like, as I'm growing my squad and gathering more people, personality is so much more important to me than hard skills. And I've met tons of people in the industry that I won't hire just because I know it's not a fit, even though they may be talented in their respective field, in their specific area. It's not going to fit in with the atmosphere of what we need for everyone to do their job to the best. Same with, like with the coaching analogy, there's so many examples of, like, you've got a team that's doing well and then they bring in some all-star to be on the roster and they think this is going to make everything great. Now we've got everything we had before plus this amazing all-star athlete, but the energy that all-star brings ostracizes people and makes them feel inadequate. And then you have all these chemistry issues where, like, yeah, you technically added somebody who has a higher, on base percentage or something, but you negatively impacted everyone else in that move.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I'll give you another example too.
Hang on. There's a comment on screen from Jay Sweet.
I had to fire someone recently because they would have corroded the production team as a whole. Not fun, but had to happen. Amen, brother.
I had one where it was actually my first shoot for the symphony. One of the people I hired, who I hope is not watching this, they showed up hungover and sat in a chair, didn't check focus. They were on the static camera, like the static wide, but the subject moved. And after that first shot, everything was out of focus the rest of the day because they never checked it. And I was in this rough situation where, and I'm going to reference my favorite book. Have I given this to you to read yet?
Yes, I have it on my shelf.
Did you read it yet?
Not yet.
It's fine. There's a part in there where he's talking about, on Mythbusters, they had hired someone and the person just screwed something up so bad, and the line you have to walk, that you have to choose which way you go, is, do I tell them everything that they did wrong or not? But the real difference is, if you tell them, that it's a sign of saying, I'm telling you because I want to work with you again. If I'm just never going to hire you again, I'm not going to bother. But taking the time to say, like, look, this was where you failed, and I'm telling you this. It's not fun to tell you this, but I'm telling you this because I want you to fix that so that we can work together in the future. Yeah. And that has been very hard for me to give feedback like that, because I feel bad about it, but I have to remind myself, A, I'm in charge and it's my client and my company on the line. And B, it is that place of love. It is, I'm telling you because I want to work with you again. And if I don't tell you, I will be hesitant to work with you again.
Yeah, I think, and even letting that person know that, just how you said it, like, I mean, that's how you validate the conversation, you know? I'm not here to just rag on you. I'm here because this is unacceptable, but I do believe in you and I want to work with you again. So
And I
I
guess that,
can't see how I would take that badly. I mean, it would be uncomfortable, but
and
that's
that's the piece right there with the personality that I think I work really well with people who are very not just open to feedback, but seeking it. And I mean, you and I, the couple times we've done stuff, like we have this open dialogue of like, what did I leave? Where did I bring you stress? Where did I, leave you hang out to dry? What did you feel uncomfortable with? And I always ask that of my crews, especially when if it's people I haven't worked with before, of like, hey, did you get there? And you're like, man, how was I not told X? Like, why did the producer not tell me this? Because I want to know. And I feel like people would be afraid to say, Shaun, you screwed this part up. And it's going to be easier for them to say, like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to work with Shaun again. He didn't, do that one thing, which he absolutely should have done. So I'm always looking for that. And that's what I love in other people that I work with is when they have that attitude of not just if I were to say, hey, can I give you some feedback, where they would say yes, but where they come back afterwards and say, hey, is there anything that I could have done better? And
yeah,
even, and I think David was one of the first people to do this when he and I started working together, where David's got so much more experience than I do. Everyone does. Almost everyone I hire has a ton more experience than I do. And for that reason, I always feel this little bit of like, am I giving you what you need? Like what every other producer gives you, am I giving you that? And he was the one afterwards that I asked like, hey, you've worked for real things before. Did this feel real? And if not, why not? And he was very candid with me. And now we have a very, very healthy podcast with tons of listeners, all because of that personality. That's why we're famous.
they'll never get me. They'll never get me.
Nah, you'll tune in. You'll hear the next episode.
No, the other example I thought of too, we were talking about earlier, as far as like um, keeping the confidence up with people and not necessarily tearing them down in the moment, is I've had countless times when talent is struggling on camera and I won't make them like redo things or do it over or fix it. I'll just be like, yeah, it's fine. That's good. I know that we're going to do pieces over later, or I'm going to ask them another question to get that part again, but it'll happen later on. I just need to get them out of their head and just get them more comfortable. Let them know that, like, hey, they might not be doing great, but as far as they know, like, I'm happy with how they are progressing. And then you got a client over your shoulder or somebody else going like, oh, they didn't do that right. Or, oh, I didn't like that. We should take that again, or blah, blah, blah. It's just like, no, we're just letting them be.
Yeah.
And you can do that with crew as well. Like sometimes you don't have to correct people. You can just make sure there's a
Well,
healthy
actually, it's funny you say that.
that were you
There it is.
correcting me?
There it is. Yes, I was.
Um, yeah.
When you say the thing about confidence,
Oh, go ahead.
when you say the thing about confidence with the talent, the two things that I do that support exactly what you just said is, one, I never start once we start rolling. I never ask the questions right away. I always like we do a levels check. And in that, I usually ask, what'd you have for breakfast? What's your favorite restaurant? If I'm traveling, it's like, hey, where should I eat around here? And then people start talking, and then you start to say, well, how did you even get into it? Like before you say, how do you spell your
Yeah, that's
name and
good.
all that stuff. But
You
then,
sneak him
yeah,
into the
they
world.
start to talk about themselves in a way that they're comfortable with, and they're not just like, all right, action. What is the most important part of your business? And that's what drives me crazy when like marketing directors are like, we'll ask the questions. You set up the cameras, we'll ask the questions. I'm like, no, you're just going to ask the questions. And the other piece of it is like you're saying, when there's a mistake, unless it's like a one word stumble and they're doing great, I'm like, oh, will you say that last line one more time? Unless it's something like that, it's always just like, oh, no, that was great. And I know, and in my notes mentally or on paper, I'm going to ask a different question
Yeah.
soon that is going to overlap, and I'm going to get what I need out of that other question. And they're not going to think, oh, he's just asking me this question again and again. Like that, that's the game of
doing
it.
something wrong, Yeah.
And my favorite little tip is at the end of an awful interview, and it was David who taught me this. I forgot who we were working with, but it was just garbage. This person had crumbled. They had nothing to offer us. And it was the second person that we had like that. Or after the first person, he goes, hey, we'll say cut, but we're not going to cut. Keep rolling. And then for the next person, they were just a ball of nerves. They stumbled all over their words, couldn't get it. And we said like, oh, we got everything. And that's a cut. And we sort of looked around and everyone nodded, but we didn't cut. And then the person in the chair goes like, oh, that's so frustrating. Like what I wanted to say was like, I've worked here for 15 years. And in those 15 years, I've seen this company grow. I've seen the community outreach. And they just started going, and everyone, I just feel like everyone's holding each other back. Like, no one say anything. Just let them go. But you only get that once you relieve that pressure in some way, whether it's from reassuring them with confidences or lying to them about, oh yeah, we're not filming anymore.
Yeah, it's a great tip. Man, Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
He's got. Can we do a live stream just talking about the pit bull?
Our stories about David Pitt.
Yeah, it doesn't like just.
Let's say this is episode 2 of Orb Talk.
Okay.
Episode 5 is going to be Pit Chronicles.
It's called Pit Bulls on Parole.
Yeah, done.
Okay.
Pit bulls on parade. Yeah, so we're at an hour and 7 minutes, so we should really wrap it up here in the next 2 hours. I had a what's that?
Can I give you some feedback?
Absolutely not.
I think these should be really much shorter.
I think so too. I wanted to. I'm glad you brought this up. This Tuesday night stream. By the way, you're over here on my screen, so it looks. I'm going to move you here, where it's not nearly as distracting. This Tuesday night stream platform, and this decision, like I've committed myself, and I haven't missed a week since October or November. Streamed every Tuesday night at 8:30. Like I got into this for the challenge, and through it learning how to present better, how to find ideas, how to share what's going on. And there's been weeks where I feel like I've prepared and made some amazing stuff and no one saw it, no one cared, no one watched. And there's weeks where it's you and I with an Orb Talk thumbnail, and we had several people in here commenting and all this stuff. But this is one of those platforms where it is, for me, I'm embracing the concept of learn by doing in an extreme way. And I agree with you. This should be shorter, but I wanted to come into this one, the last one I came into, and I had sent you like some things I wanted to talk about. And this one was the opposite. I was like, hey, we'll figure it out. And I wanted to throw you off your game a little bit. And I think as we do whatever monthly Orb Talk episode or whatever, as we do these, we hone the process and learn from it and create something that is primarily fun for you and I to actually do and an interesting conversation to have. And secondarily is mildly watchable.
Yeah. That sounds like 2 great goals. I was called Piddles in high school, not because I was slow, but they said I contained the mannerisms of a pit bull and a poodle, but not the dog breed, Pitbull the Rapper.
I'm gonna finish us here with one final David Pitt story to set us up
Okay.
for
Wait,
the
to set us up for episode 5?
yeah, just to give a taste. I'm not gonna give any examples, but with
Okay.
David's comment here as an example, David's ability to write an Instagram caption is
I don't know about
untouchable.
this. I don't know about this because I know what I know about David Pitt is he's basically not on the internet at all. So if
He's
you're
not,
telling me
and
he's a part of something on Instagram, I'm like,
so he's not even on Instagram anymore. But his work lives on, and I swear to God, this isn't a promotion. The Hardy and Sons podcast Instagram, he did all the posting for, all the captions, and go back and most of the artwork. And if you go back and read that, each one of these things is just a beautiful vignette, just an amazing story, and it just anecdotes that go deep with references and layers, and it's a
I swear if you would talk to him about Instagram, he would be like, "Oh, I don't know how to use that."
oh, he knows. And
That sandbagging son of a bitch.
I will say that the account isn't popular, but that doesn't mean it's not. So to say he knows Instagram, I'm not saying he can get you 1 million followers if you're hiring him. I'll say you'll enjoy reading the captions. And that's all I can say.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. I can't wait for that episode.
Do you have anything to promote? Plugs. This is the plugs closing part of our episode.
Not that I can connect my name to.
Fair.
Top secret.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, that's all I ask for. If you made it this far, I have nothing more to ask of. It's not like go like and watch this video. Just thank you. Genuinely thank you for making it an hour and 12 minutes into Orb Talk episode 2. Have a lovely night, everybody.